Okay, good morning, everybody. So, this morning we kick off our series about abundance and prosperity and giving and receiving and every good thing that there is to experience in this life. So, the question I begin with is, what is an abundant life? Is there one definition for that? I don't think so. I think we all get to define that for ourselves. What is an abundant and prosperous life for you? Or I ask, for me, what does that look like? What does that feel like? I mean, is an abundant life driving a Maserati, or is an Nissan Pathfinder good enough? That's what I drive. For me, that's a good deal. I like my little Nissan Pathfinder, or not so little, depending on who you are and who's sitting in the driver's seat. I'm happy with it. I like it. I look at a Maserati and all I see is an expensive tune-up bill, right? Tune-up on a Maserati, what, $800, $900 or more? 1,200. See, there you go. Let alone the insurance and da 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 da. But you know, who knows? For somebody, that's an abundant life. And is an abundant life simply defined by income? Is that the sole measure? Or is it happy and healthy relationships? A life that is fulfilling, making sure I've got food on the table for myself and my family, making sure I've got a roof over my head, clean water, clean air. Is that an abundant life? You see, because we get to define all that for ourselves. Media doesn't get to define that for me. The news doesn't get to define that for me. The advertisers and marketing agencies don't get to define that for me. I get to define that on my own. And some of those things I can agree with, some things I may not agree with. But ultimately, I make those choices. You make those choices for yourself. And so this month, Reverend Jill and I will be exploring all that and sharing our thoughts about that and thoughts from this week's book or this month's book, Prosperity, Plentitude, and Infinite Possibilities by Michael Beckwith. Great little book. Highly recommended. It's been fun to read. And I'm going to read a little bit from it to kind of open us up this morning. And he says this, the chapter is, there's great possibilities for all of us. And he writes, the spiritual truth is that everything you can want, hope for, and desire, you already have. Really? The spiritual and eternal truth is that you're living in a field of abundance. You can never be ever separated from that. You can experience something other than abundance, but in reality, you can never be separated from it. It is closer than your breath, nearer than your hands and feet. Closer than your breath, nearer than your hands and feet. Because here in the Science of Mind, Centers for Spiritual Living, we believe that the source and substance of all that is right here, present with us all the time. It is in us, through us, around us. Give it whatever name you want, source, God, infinite life, divine life, you name it, put the pronoun on it that you like, but it is here. Right here. All the time. And what shifts and changes our belief, what shifts and changes our experience is what happens inside of us. Because where do we experience it all anyway? Right inside of us. It's our thinking, our consciousness that sets the limit, that determines the quality, tenor, tapestry of our experience. It's all happening right here, right here. So Alana Fairchild, a writer probably most of you are not familiar with. Alana Fairchild, who actually is she wrote all the text for a collection of oracle cards. Interesting little book. And she writes this: sitting with joy in your heart, whether it relates to something specific or not, is magnetic to the good that the universe wishes to deliver to you. It is like switching your inner light to a higher voltage so the special opportunities perfect for you can find their way to you more swiftly. Wow. Sitting with joy. So I'm going to invite you all to just kind of, if you care to, just close your eyes for just a minute and think of something joyful and just feel into that. What does joy feel like? Is it a giggling child, giggling baby? Just that one works for me. I can hear in my little inside my mind and heart just a baby giggling and see that face and feel that. Isn't that joyful? Does that feel like joy? Go ahead and open your eyes. And imagine walking around like that all the time. I have a friend in California, Steve Lovestein. And Steve, if you're watching, here you go, man. My friend Steve walks around with an atmosphere of joy all the time. I've never seen him without a smile on his face, ever. No matter what's going on in his life, good, bad, or indifferent, the man is grateful and joyful all the time. And for me, he is a model of how I want to live. I am not there yet. Anybody else there yet? Anybody else? I'm not there yet. I'm working on it. Steve is my model. And I just saw a post, and he came to mind because I just saw a post from him on Facebook this morning. But having that sense of joy, that is magnetic. And I don't care what it is. His life works for him. And I know a lot of the reason that is happening is because he walks around with that sure and certain expectation that life is working for him all the time. Ernest Holmes writes about that in The Science of Mind. He says, and this is actually in the definition in the back of in the glossary in the definition for prosperity. He writes this: everything in the universe is for us. Now, there are two ways we can read that phrase, right? Everything in the universe is for us, like we can receive it, or everything in the universe is for us, like backing us up. Like the universe has got my back. It's working for me on my behalf all the time. And both ways of reading that line are true. The universe is for us, and it is for us. It's happening for me, working for me, supplying me, meeting my needs in each and every moment of my life. That is abundant living. Walking around knowing that the universe is for us and it is for us. Both. It's got my back and it's meeting my needs. And if I can walk around knowing that all the time, then every need is met, every desire is fulfilled, every opportunity is presented, and it is simply waiting for me to say, okay, I receive. And not only do I receive, but I will turn that around and I will share that with the rest of my life. It's not coming to me and stopping. It is stopping in my life on its way to somewhere else. It's coming in and it's going out. It's coming in and it's going out. Because if I stop it as it comes in, then the flow stops. It's like me putting a dam on that source of infinite supply. It can't stop with me. It has to come in and I have to turn it around and share it as well. It comes in and it goes out. It comes in and it goes out. So the choice for us is, what shape do I give that? What is the choice I'm going to make about how that is going to take on form and expression in my life? What are the choices I am going to make? What is the design I am going to give the universe that says, this is what an abundant life looks like for me? What is in my heart? What is my heart's desire? Am I worthy of it? Am I worthwhile? Do I deserve my place in this universe? How do I feel about me? Am I feeling deserving? Am I loving on me? Am I proud of who I am and the life that I'm creating? And am I grateful for that? See, all of this is part of that matrix. I've been involved with an online group, over the last couple, well, loosely for the last year or so, but in a more focused manner the last few months. It's called the Wellness Warrior Collective. And we meet Monday through Friday at, what time does that start? About 10 till 5 local time, a.m. And it goes for about an hour, a little over an hour. And we take turns and we share what we're proud about of ourselves. So what am I proud of me for? What am I grateful for about me? What do I love about me? And then what is my heart's desire today? And we speak about that desire as if it's already complete, like an affirmation. It's like if we stand and we say, it's like I'm standing in my life in the future as if this thing has already happened. It's like, wow, how is it that I open up my checkbook and I always have plenty of money to pay, to play, and to give away? How did that happen? And so that sets us up so that, okay, how did that happen? So we get an answer saying, this is the next step, and this is the next step, and this is the next step. Or we just stand in our life and say, you know what, I'm grateful. I am grateful that each and every day I suit up and show up and do my job. And I show up not only for myself, I show up for my family, for my job, for my friends, and so on and so forth. And you know what I love about me? I love that I'm just a genuine, personable person. That I love me and I love people. And I play a pretty good piano still. Right? And so every day, it's a practice. Proud, grateful, love, desire. Imagine what would happen if you just took the time. And you know what? If you want to join me in this, I'll send you the link for it and you can join it. But if you stood in front of the mirror and said, you know what? I'm proud, I'm grateful, I love myself, and this is my heart's desire. You look in the mirror every morning and said that, what would happen to your life? It's like, what if you had the practice every day? Or even just start with the gratitude. Just write down 3 gratitudes in the morning, write down 3 gratitudes in the evening. What am I grateful for? Or speak it out loud. But really being focused already on what's present in my life. I'm grateful for this today. I'm grateful for me today. Oh, and I meant to give credit, so I meant. So the Wellness Warrior Collective, the Proud, Grateful, Love, Desire, was a creation of a lady who started the group. Her name is Lindsay Van Dusen, and just a wonderful lady, and I wanted to give her credit for that. So, because I told her I would. There she is. She's probably watching. So thank you, Lindsay. And she is definitely a blessing in my life. Ernest Holmes talks about this. And this ties into what we were just talking about being proud, being grateful, being loving, desire, all of this, and feeling good about us. He says we must know that everywhere we go, we meet friendship, love, human interest, and helpfulness. Isn't that what we were just talking about? What am I walking around in the world? What am I expecting? What is the expectation I have about the world? Am I looking out at the world and seeing a hostile environment or one that is loving? Am I seeing one that's filled with chaos or one that is filled with a sense of order? Am I seeing something that's fear-based or something that's love-based? What am I looking at? What am I looking for? Because Ernest Holmes says in another part of the science, right, he says, what we are looking for, we are looking with, and we are looking at. What we are looking for, we are looking with, and we are looking at. I don't know where it is, but I know it's there. Because it's all the same thing. If all there was, I mean, if everything I'm look at, everything I see, everything I experience is an outpicturing of the divine, and I am part of that, then it's all connected. So what I'm looking for, what I'm expecting to see, I'm going to be greeted with. What's at the core of my being, what's at the core of my beliefs about the universe and the world I live in is going to show up for me. So if I want to change my experience, change my encounters in the world, if I want to be met by prosperity and abundance, then that is an expectation, a sense of expectancy, a belief system I need to build up within me that says, this is what I expect. This is what I know to be true to such a degree that it is like knowing that the sun is going to come up in the morning and that the moon will follow in the evening. It is that depth of knowing that I build up. Not just an idle, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, I could be abundant. Am I sounding real convincing? No. No. But it's a belief that is so deep and so ingrained that there is an unshakable faith and expectation that says, my needs are always met. And a little bit more. Because it's not just my needs, it's not just my material needs on a day-to-day basis, but you know what? I want to be able to share. I want to be able to give away. I want to be able to support others. I want to be able to support good works out in the world. I want to be able to give money away. I want to support veterans organizations. I want to support foster care organizations. I want to support clean water programs. I want to support all these kinds of things. I want to do good in the world. So you know what? More needs to flow through me. I'm not going to the well of good with just a ladle. I'm not going to the well of good with just a bucket. I'm hooking up the damn sump pump and going for it. I'm going to plug that thing, turn it on, and it's going. It's flowing all the time. I don't want to have to go back and resupply all the time. It's just the flow that's always happening. It's that level of good that I want to have flowing through my world. So it's not just blessing me, it's blessing everybody around me. And how do I get there? How do I get out of my own way? By setting aside all the doubts, by reaffirming that I am a good and worthwhile person. And if some beliefs pop up that say, you know what, when I was a kid, there was always da 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 da, or because I, happen to be a recovering addict, maybe I'm not worthwhile. Maybe I have a lot of guilt and shame around some of the things that I did while I was involved in addiction, or when I was a smoker, or when I was a ruffian as a teenager. all we have all these, we make up all these stories and all these excuses about who and what we have been that say, you know what, I'm not worthy of being abundant and prosperous and worthwhile. I don't deserve my spot in the world because of da 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 da. Da. So we make up these stories. You know what? Time to let those go. Time to set those aside and say, you know what? No more. No more excuses. No more reasons why not. I am here on the planet. I am that 1 in 4 billion that made it through the process and got to be born. And I'm here on purpose, for a purpose, to do good. I get to be that. So because I'm here, I get to be prosperous. I get to be successful. I claim my worthiness in this world. And I am good enough. And then some. And then some. Ernest again goes on to say this: life is ever giving of itself. We must receive, utilize, and extend the gift. And that's just what I was talking about. It's not just receiving, it's a flow. It's a receiving and a giving. The gift I receive is a gift I get to share. The gift that comes in is a gift I get to give out. Just like um, the money finders. Yes, we'll talk about those. Money finders. We have this little money finders program here at the church. So unexpected or serendipitous income comes into our life. It comes in and we tithe 10%. Just like Katie and I got those free movie tickets and we gave away 10% of the value. I put it in here, put it in the envelope, put it in the put it in the thing, give it away. And then guess what? I was scheduled to go to do extra work, go to California, do a week of work. And it's for me, those kind of trips are a bonus, they're a blessing because I get to work overtime on those trips. I don't often get to work overtime. And then just the other day, or was it Friday, Thursday, I get an email after I'd signed out for the day saying I get to go for 2 weeks. That's like 20 hours of overtime in 2 weeks. That's a lot of money that I wasn't planning on, that I wasn't expecting, right? So I'll be giving away on that. I'll be tithing on that income. Because I expect more. I expect the unexpected. It's not unexpected because I expect the universe to show up for me on my behalf. Whether it's in terms of money, friendship, relationships, whatever it is, I expect good to show up for me. And gratitude for it, expecting it, all of that plays into every part of that experience. Every part of that experience. Oh, I came up with one other. So, Lao Tzu, I wanted to make, yeah, I know, I see it, Daniel. We're going to go over. Just a few minutes. Be content, Lao Tzu says, with what you have. Rejoice in the way things are. When you realize nothing is lacking, the whole world belongs to you. Be content with what you have. Rejoice in the way things are. When you realize nothing is lacking, the whole world belongs to you. So expressing gratitude for what I have, expressing gratitude for where I am, being grateful for what I have has an expansive effect on our lives. Being content, knowing that every need is met, every desire fulfilled, that is the way of being. Having a joyful expectancy and a joyful countenance about what is happening. is a way to draw all of that to us and into our lives on a day-to-day basis. Let's go to practicing the principles. And the way I'm going to invite you to put it into practice this week, all of you. Gratitude grows grace. Gratitude grows grace, joy, prosperity, and every good thing we desire. So this week, if you're not already doing it, begin practicing gratitude by starting and ending your day with a brief list of what you are grateful for. Practice gratitude this week. And I invite you to do that and expand your experience of good in your life. So with that, we'll go into our Q&A time. It's your turn to share. So anybody, what questions, comments on all the ground we've covered here this morning? Yes, sir.
So what is the best way, what is the best way to let go what is in your way and to accept what we need to in order to practice that principle?
So the question is, what are the best way to let go of what is in your way and then embrace what we need to in order to, okay. So there are a couple. First of all, forgiveness. Forgiveness is a practice that I completely believe in, and that forgiveness is always for us. Forgiveness is for me. Forgiveness of self and forgiveness of others, and my role in whatever encounter produces that regret, that pain, that shame, that fear that I've held on to up until now. But that forgiveness is always followed up with a process of self-acceptance, self-celebration, self-love, feeling good about who I am in the world. Like drawing a line in the sand of my, when we talk about, and I talk about this a lot, when talking about the past, especially things I want to let go of, I always preface it by saying up until now. Up until now, I have believed myself to have come up short in life. Up until now, I have held on to shame, blame, and regret around my time as an addict. And so I flip that and say, up until now, I've believed this, but now from today going forward, you know what? I'm worthwhile. I'm deserving of my place in the world. I'm loving, I'm lovable, I'm capable, and on and on and on and on and on and on. Right? Because we not only we let go of what has been in order to claim and embrace that deeper truth of who and what we are. Okay. Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you.
Thanks, Daniel.
Okay, Reverend Lee.
Yes, it's like I feel like I just landed on the stand. Anyway, go ahead.
So sometimes I get into a mood and I say negative things about myself and I can't get out of that mood. I hear what you're saying about, up until now and being grateful and all that, but sometimes I can't get there because I'm just not feeling good about myself or anything.
Okay. Great. That's a fabulous question. So those are the times that I will have a tendency. Okay, a couple things. One, I get up and move. If I can find my way to it, I'll get up and move. I'll get up, go for a walk, get up, go to the gym. If I change my physical being, that helps me change my energy, my inner being, right? So they change the outer, change the inner. Secondly, if I can break the cycle, right? Pick up the phone, call a friend, call a practitioner, call Daniel, call me, call Reverend Jill, call a friend or a support person. Reach out and say, you know what, I'm struggling with this. I'm having trouble with blah, 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 blah. Can you just listen? Because sometimes just speaking it out to somebody will shift it. And all of a sudden, when it's out in the open, in the light of day, it's like, you know what, that's really not that bad. And now I know what to do. Now that I've spoken it, now I know how to act. Because frequently I know for myself that committee will grab a hold of that idea that I'm struggling with, and it's just problem. All I can see is the problem, and it doesn't break out of that cycle. So change your physical being, reach out for help. Those are two things right away you can do.
Thank you. And I've noticed that when you speak it and get it out, it just kind of vaporizes.
Right.
So, yes, thank you.
You bet. Okay. One more. Carl?
Thanks. Yeah, you mentioned earlier about living with the expectation of this is what I expect,
Mm-hmm.
and to try to make that a habit or a way of living. I've been working with CSL for a couple of decades now, and the first few years were building and learning and bringing things into practice,
Mm-hmm.
but it's still you get out of the habit. The
Mm-hmm.
outside world comes in, and it's like I have to come here every Sunday to remind myself, or watch you on Sunday, and to remind myself this is where I need to be. This is where my mental framework needs to be, and to get myself back to step back into that mentality, that expectation, that living in expectation of good, love, and joy. But then so easily for me, it's like, how do I fall out of that?
Mm-hmm.
And I guess my question is I want to get into the habit of working with that and living that more often. What can I do to catch myself to stop falling off the horse?
Oh, yeah. You know what? When you get at that answer, you want to give me a call? No, kidding. Yeah, because that happens for me too. It's like this is for me. Um, Over time, we build up our toolbox, right? We have our spiritual tool, what I call my spiritual toolbox. We have meditation, we have prayer, we have yoga, we have affirmations, we have affirmative prayer, we have practitioners like Daniel and myself and Reverend Jill. Um, we have daily readings, or some of like you have your little daily reading books, or maybe you have your little daily online thing. And so we have all these different tools. That's why I have multiple tools, because sometimes my tools will get my practice will I'll find my practice getting stale. When my practice gets stale, it's easy for it to fall off. And all of a sudden I notice, oh, I haven't been blah 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 blah. Like I noticed, it's like for myself, my practice was getting stale, and I started doing yoga, and all of a sudden it's like, boom, man, I'm like excited about yoga. I'm not going quite as much as I want to. I will be going more, but it's really cool. I like it. It's something new. It's shaking things up for me. And this like the morning proud, grateful, love and desire practice, that I'm doing online. That's been a new thing for me, and that's helping shake things up for me. So if I find myself all of a sudden we're going to we're the daily thing is going to happen. But typically, what I find the reason behind that happening is something's gotten stale. And so adding something in or bringing back an older practice can help refresh that. You say, okay, what's working, what's not. It's like we do in business, right? What's working, what's not working. We do a whole business review, say, okay, what's working, what's not working. And we go, okay, let go of what's not working. What can I add in? What can I put in to take that place? Maybe it's something I've never done before. Those are the really fun things. If we can add in something new, then that refreshes everything. It has an impact on the whole system because it is a whole system. So thank you, Carl. That's great. One more. Thanks, Victoria.
Well, I don't know exactly how I'm going to say this, but this March I turned 80. And so I started looking at my life in 20-year segments. And I started looking at how things happened. And when I was in my 40s, I started with Science of Mind. And that turned everything. So what I realized is, number one, everything I ever wanted to experience, I have. Number two, everything happens for a reason. Everything is an impetus to deepen your spirituality and realize how little any of this really matters. So I've had some absolutely wonderful things happen in my life. And I've had some things that were absolutely horrible. But every one of the ones that I named horrible turned out to be a lesson. And I saw that when I started looking at 20 years, my first 20, when I was 9, when I was 29. And what I realized from that is you don't really have to worry, because there's something in charge that's listening to you and that's trying to talk to us, but we don't hear it very often. So I think that's the joy of getting older, is you can look at this, you can look at your children, you can look at your grandchildren, you can see how little of all of this, the Ferraris, how does that really matter? It gets you from point A to point B, maybe a little faster, but do we need to be faster? So I just wanted to share that with you, that don't worry, just put your faith in a higher power, do your work, and everything will turn out great. Now, what's going to happen the next 20 years of my life? Do I have 20? Well, we'll see.
Right? Right.
Thank you, Victoria.
I'm counting on another 20 or 30 myself. So, yeah, at least. Thank you, Nancy, for your help. All right, let's put this to practice. Everybody just sit back, settle in. We'll do some spiritual mind treatment, some affirmative prayer. And we just acknowledge the divine life, divine power and presence we call God, and infinite love and peace and beauty, joy, prosperity, health, wholeness, abundance, all this and so much more, so much more. And it surrounds us and folds us, lifts us up, moving through us right now. We are one with it, and it in, as, and through us. And we're grateful for that awareness, for this awareness. This because it is right here, right now. This because it is present with us. In this truth we live. And as we look around our lives in any moment, this moment, every moment, as we look around our lives, we see that everywhere we look, we see the face of God. Every person, place, thing, every environment is God expressed. And we acknowledge it right here and right now. It is abundant at every point. It meets every need, every desire fulfilled. And we know this is true for each and every one of us, for our families, our communities, our state, our country, our world, our universe, all of it. All of it in perfect and right order, right here and right now. And we know this blessing is true for each and every one of us. For anybody engaged in their spiritual practice today, we know that they are blessed as well. Synagogue, mosque, mountaintop, seaside, wherever they are, we know God is, and all is well. And we know that true for ourselves right here and right now. That our spiritual community is blessed and growing and expanding to overflowing. Each of us blessed and a blessing. And so with gratitude, we go forward into this day, into this week, knowing that all is well, that life is good and very good, as each and every one of us, and so it is.
So it is.